Seattle grocery store, PCC. It's a Puget Sound co-op, something or other. I never shopped there, but it's a well-known chain in the Puget Sound area. It's groceries. It's wholesale, or not wholesale, but organic, all that good stuff. Blames lower number of office workers as it closes its downtown location. Now, the thing you need to know is that this opened 2 years ago, and now they're closing it after 2 años. What's going on? Let's get into it. I'm going to show you a little video that I shot of this store like 2 weeks ago when I was doing the pro-Palestinian rallies. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's go right to the video. Hey, dude. All right, there it is. So what I was doing, and for those of you on the audio portion of that, what I am looking at is you're coming up out of a massive set of elevators, and then you go up a flight of stairs, and it's a very nice complex. It's the Rainier Towers. It's a super nice building. It just happens to be in downtown Seattle. And you might think, well, they've got all kinds of shenanigans and stuff going outside on the street. They do. They do. I will attest to this. I've started, I think 3 or 4 live streams basically from out in front of this complex. And yes, you've got shenanigans going on the street, but that is not what's causing this store after 2 years to shut down. You just don't have enough employees and workers in downtown buying groceries in that area, because in so many of these downtown cores, office workers are working from home. They're doing the remote thing. And if they do come in, it's maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We know that that is a known quantity in so many of these by traffic patterns. We know by cell phone patterns. We know Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is now the official work week for so many of these tech companies. Has Seattle's office worker traffic peaked? Seems like it has. It never really got back to pre-pandemic levels. We went through this whole thing where we just told everybody, you can work from home forever. It's going to be great. And then all of a sudden, we need you back in the office 3 days a week. Maybe 4. Let's just call it a week and 5 days a week. You come in, you get your weekend though. So has office workers traffic peaked? That's one potential takeaway from the surprise closure of PCC Community Market's downtown grocery store and reports of a stalling return to office trend. It has stalled, folks. And so the reason I shot that video you just saw, because I was down doing the pro-Palestinian rallies. And so we would start at Westlake Mall. And let me just show you on the interweb, right? Here we go. Okay, so here's what you've got. Here is PCC, the store that we're talking about closing down. Here is Westlake Park. That's where the majority of these rallies start. So I park here. I walk down the street. Here's where our rallies start, right here. Then we walk down here. And to give you another good indication of where we kind of sit, this is the blade in between Pike and Pine on 3rd Avenue. This is one of the worst sections for criminal activity in all of Seattle. Right there. It has a nickname, the Blade. So you're right there. Now, with emphasis patrols of cops set up across the street there all the time, things have gotten better there temporarily. But what the bigger concern is that you are in downtown Seattle. You're in the heart of downtown Seattle, and there's just not enough workers there. You don't have enough workers to support, going on grocery shopping, going getting their lunch during their lunch break. They're not physically there. So they're spending way less money in downtown than what was happening pre-pandemic. And so now the PCC has got to shut down its store because it's impacting the financial viability of other stores that are doing much better because they're in the burbs. So That's one potential takeaway from the surprise closure of PCC Community Market's downtown grocery store and reports of a stalling return to office trend. We already read that. The store in the heart of downtown Seattle at 1320 4th Avenue opened just last year, 2022, following pandemic-related delays. It will close January 31st. It had a multi-million dollar store. It just takes millions to get those stores up and running. And it had a 2-year run. Boom. Done. And that's because of, all right, so there's some street condition issues. Yes, there is. But those were there pre-pandemic as well, right? When everybody was working from the office. Now, nobody's going into the office because that's just not a thing anymore. And so PCC is saying, moving forward, we got to shut this bad boy down because we are bleeding out. PCC CEO Chris, I'm going to butcher this name, Srinivasan, I don't know. Sorry about that. A former Remitly and Amazon executive said in a statement Wednesday that the flagship store is unprofitable and we do not see that changing for the foreseeable future. That's an indication from somebody pretty high up looking at the numbers, crunching the numbers going, oh, this isn't good. Close her down, boys and girls. Let's shut her down. In a press release, PCC said the store has significantly underperformed relative to original forecasts, in large part due to persistently lower numbers of office workers and residential grocery shoppers in the city center following the pandemic. When this store opened up, there were huge crowds. It was the greatest thing ever in downtown Seattle. Well, because they had a place to get some effing groceries, right? Without going to like a Target that people are still on the 70-inch TVs from. So you had this grocery store open up in this area where it's basically, there's not a lot of grocery stores. There's not a lot of, to be honest, in doing those walkarounds with the rallies, we'll call them rallies. There's a lot of vacancy. There's a lot of vacant retail storefront bottom floor. You got office space above that and you've got some residential above that. But that's kind of a hit or miss as well. But there's a lot of office space and a lot of retail that is straight up vacant, that it's empty. And this is downtown Seattle, and it's the core area. Average daily worker foot traffic in downtown Seattle has increased year over year, but appears to be stabilizing. This is according to the DSA. That's the Downtown Seattle Association. That's a coalition of businesses that kind of try and hold things together in the downtown core. So here's October 2022. We go January, April, July. This is not a rocket ship taking off upwards, is it? No, it is. This is more of a little bit of a grade. Maybe we got a few percent grade going on there, but it's up and down. It's not going to the moon. Let's just say that. So based on this graph, those kind of stats, leadership at PCC said, sayonara, guys. Let's cut our losses and get out of here. We'll go to our other stores. We'll put our sources where the other stores are. We'll take that as a loss, the big L on the downtown Seattle one, and we'll move on and we'll hold together what we can that's more profitable. Seattle lags behind most other large U.S. cities in regard to its downtown recovery, and worker foot traffic is only 57% of pre-pandemic levels, just over half. According to the University of Toronto, only Minneapolis, Louisville, and St. Louis have lower recovery metrics. That's not good. That's not. San Francisco has better? Well, some would say yes. Some would say yes. And it has to do with we're in a market where technology is so prevalent. So getting back to that ridiculous map. Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. So here's your PCC. There's your McDonald's, worst place in the world. That's the worst McDonald's in the world. You got a big old Macy's building here. You had Uniqlo open up, but you also, here's Uniqlo opened up right here. But you have a Macy's building here that Amazon basically backed out of office space. Amazon backed out of office space in Rainier Towers, where PCC is. And some of that had to do with where it was, and some of that had to do with the fact that it's in downtown Seattle. So this is not a new deal. The large technology companies are just not having their employees work in the downtown core. PCC, which operates 15 other stores in the Seattle region, also said it's navigating a rapid increase in cost of goods, inflation-driven impacts on the cost of living, and challenges with staff retention and public safety. Speaking of those issues, how about down in California, Governor Newsom, with his geniusness in promoting business, had said bottom floor of the minimum wage is going to be $20. So McDonald's and all those fast food restaurants and businesses are scrambling, trying to figure out, all right, with a labor cost of $20 an hour, can we make this go? The big companies will be fine. The smaller companies, they're going to struggle because they don't have it in the budget to pay those folks that much. And then people say, well, if they don't have the money in the budget, then they shouldn't be operating. Well, the market is what it is, right? But clearly, return to office trends impacted the company's bottom line at the downtown store, which employed nearly 80 people. The commercial real estate market in the Seattle region continues to see record high vacancies, according to a report from JLL, and companies, including tech firms, appear to be settling into hybrid work policies. It's exactly what you got going on. 3 days a week. That is your new work week. 4-day weekend. Oh, did I say that? No, I mean, they're working Mondays and Fridays. They're just working at home. I can make fun of them because I come to an office 5 days a week. I should get a medal. I should get a participation ribbon for going to the office 5 days a week. Nah, it's just that my office is just it's a recording studio. You got all kinds of stuff up in the wall, killing sound, and I just can't recreate this willy-nilly anywhere else, right? So a recent survey by the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce found that a hybrid work model is the most popular option among employers in downtown Seattle, with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as the most popular days in the office. And that is because that's what's been set up by the Microsofts and the Amazons that are still remaining in Seattle. They're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You guys need to clock in. If you don't, we have the option of firing you. Boom. Done. It's like, okay. And there's a handful of people that are saying, you know what? I may need to separate from my company because I can't be coming in on Monday and Friday. I can't have that. That wrecks my laundry routine on days that end in Y. And I got to walk the dog, and now I got to go get a babysitter for the kid. Figure it out. You did it before. You can do it again. I have faith in you. Get your ass back in the office. It's not what I'm personally saying, but a lot of guys are. PCC employees at the downtown store cited busy lunch hours Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3-day work week, period. That's what you've got. PCC, but almost nothing on the weekends. Nothing. And that's when I'm down there. And I'm down there with, the last couple of weekends, I'm down there with 1,000 people, 1,200 people, 1,500 people, something like that. A lot of people walking around, but you're also aware that so much of the space is vacant and empty, and that the only people really around, you take out the protesters who leave, or the rally goers, whatever you want to call it. Once they leave, you got a bunch of drug addicts and drug dealers and criminals running around. That's what you've got. You got insane people, literally certifiably insane. If you look at the live stream, at the beginning of the live stream a couple of weekends ago, you'll see a dude running around. I think he didn't have a shirt on. His pants were barely on, and he was in another world. He was on another planet. And so you've got this weird situation where you've got all of these pro-Palestinian people, with their flags and they're marching, and they've got their chants going on from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free, which is basically just, let's get rid of all of the Israeli Jews. Let's just clear them out because that is basically holy lands. Let's just talk about completely eradicating Jews from this area. And you're like, okay, all right. To be clear, I back Israel, just saying straight up. So there's no, I mean, I've had people hit me up saying, hey, you went to that rally and I thought you were pro-Palestinian. What's up with that? I'm like, no, I'm just covering an event that's happening that I think people need to see. So that is how I do it. And if people don't understand which side I'm on, I have done my job because I want it to be as open to your interpretation as possible. I go in and I don't I'm not yelling at people. I may make some funny comments, but I'm going to make those about any kind of rally. Hey, you messed up on that chant. Just if you're there for several hours, it becomes rather monotonous to hear the chants and, that kind of thing. So you got to throw in some humor in there, even though the terrorist deal that happened in Israel is just, the whole thing that's going on over there is just a lot of lost life. But you invade a country, there's going to be some retribution, right? As Bloomberg reporter Matt Day pointed out, another potential reason for the store closure is Amazon. Seattle-based tech giant planned to occupy all 30 floors in the new Rainier Square building where PCC store is located. PCC announced plans for the downtown store in 2018, but a year later, Amazon backed out of its plans. Oh, hey now. Oh, putting the high-profile office project on the sublease market. Rainier Square was at the center of a heated tax battle between Amazon and Seattle in 2018. Tax Amazon, hashtag Tax Amazon was a real thing. That's Shama Sawant. That's our Socialist America member who's no longer running for office, but her impact has been widely felt. And you know what Bellevue says? Thank you. Because we're taking a lot of that. We're taking a lot of that flow for businesses that don't want to be in downtown Seattle because they don't want to pay this ridiculous tax that a bunch of socialists threw out there. And the residents are like, yeah, tax Amazon. This will be great. And now they're struggling. Where's our grocery store? What happened to our grocery store? Why is our grocery store closing up? Well, you guys voted this in. You wanted this. How's that working out for you? Anyway, PCC was likely banking on the fact that hundreds of hungry Amazonians would be shuffling in and out of the building each day. Well, they were, but they're not anymore. Amazon's earned praise from city leaders for its return to office mandate that went into effect earlier this year, requiring employees in the office at least 3 days a week. Everybody is happy with that, except for the employees. People are like, we need to get our tax money in here. How can we get these people back to work? Well, and it goes on to say, talks about the bars. Yeah, nobody's at the bars. You can get parking in downtown Seattle on the street almost any time of the day, which is unheard of. Some of my tasks as a young kid when I got my driver's license was to drive from Kirkland or Bellevue or somewhere over here and to go there to get maps and stuff and deliver appraisals because we handed appraisals to people back in the day. Parking in Seattle has always been a nightmare. Too many people, not enough parking. So in 2023, at age 54, for me to be able to just roll up to whatever and get a space on the street is weird. And it's because there's not enough people working there to fill up all the spots. So you got bars, you got doggy daycares. Nobody's doing that because their dogs are at home where they're working, and other small businesses around Amazon's headquarters about a mile down the road from PCC's stores. Amazon is about a mile to the east from where we're talking about. But it may not be enough to get Seattle back to pre-pandemic levels of office worker traffic, as evident by PCC's decision this week. Then we go on to the PCC statement, which is just a bunch of stuff, kind of working through what we just talked about. Corporate speak, I have a tough time working through that. It's like, it was a difficult decision, and we crunched the numbers, and every one of our employees is so dear to us. We want to give them all a big bear hug, and unfortunately, they're fired, and your severance package will be on your desk on Monday, and we hope that works out for you. Bye. So bad, right? Being fired from a job, so bad. There's no easy way to do that. And then the announcement. So this news story here, this isn't about street level crime. This isn't about, hey, we're being robbed blind. Because to me, the way that PCC had this store set up, they knew going in, they're in a tough location. It's a tough street. It's tough. It's, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of Looney Tune drug dealers and drug addicts walking around. And so they're in and out of that store. Looks like it's pretty secured away. So it's not an issue of that. Do you have some whacked out nut jobs, wielding swords and stuff? Absolutely. But that's downtown Seattle. PCC knew that going into it. This is a story of, this is where the rubber hits the road. Oh yeah, that 3-day work week is really settling in. And here's the reality. A regional good-sized grocery store, not a national chain, can't make it based on sales. And that's the harsh reality. That's the harsh reality. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday ain't going to do it if you're a grocery store and you employ 80-something people and they're standing around doing nothing because there's nobody in the store except for lunchtime, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's ghost town the rest of the time. And this is not just Seattle, but Seattle is worse, as we heard, is as bad as anywhere as far as office workers going into the downtown. San Francisco, same deal. San Francisco is just such a much bigger market that we talk about San Fran a lot more because they've just got bigger numbers. Right? I think the overturn with office space in San Fran is taking place right now. A lot of that has to do with the AI companies coming in. I'm reading about multiple leases being signed. 400,000 square feet taken down here. 50,000 square feet taken down here. 250,000 square feet of sublease space taken down here. That is already happening in San Fran. Seattle? Man, who knows? Because employers in Seattle have the option of coming to the east side where their employees already live. Because unless you're living in a big high-rise tower, which a lot of people don't want to do in downtown Seattle, you go to the burbs and you go east. Head east, young man, east. And that's literally what everybody does that used to live in Seattle. When they get married and have kids, oh, yeah, I don't want to be in Seattle. Let's move. Let's go across one of the bridges and we'll check out what's there. And we'll raise little Johnny and Susie there. That's the reality. So now PCC closes after 2 years. That's a wild ride. That kind of tells you right there where we sit with office space absorption in a market like downtown Seattle that's been rocked by the pandemic and that whole work from home deal, which is ongoing, having huge repercussions. And what will this do? Well, now you've got one more business in downtown that's emptying out its space. No more tax revenue to the city of Seattle, gone, poof, gone, poof, gone. And then city of Seattle is going to go, oh God, yeah. About those new cops? Yeah, we're going to have to work that out. We're going to have to work out the budget. Yeah, all those new social workers we hired, those unarmed social workers, oh, yeah, we're going to have to cut those numbers down. You're going to have to cut budgets. Big time. Big time. So that is how this impacts that overall picture. All right, that's it for me on this one. PCC bites the dust. It's a shame. I never had a chance to shop in there. I'm not a co-op kind of guy, though. I'm just not, except for REI. Lifelong member there. All right. Thanks again for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.